Welcome to the Insomnia Project. Sit back, relax, and listen as we have a calm conversation about the mundane, and hopefully it'll help you drift your way to sleep. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Marco Timpano.
And I'm Amanda Barker.
Amanda, how are you doing today?
I'm kind of calm.
Really?
In fact, yeah, I've had a pretty chill day. As we've talked about in the past, one of my jobs is directing for a casting house, and the thing that we were working on today, everybody had to be very chill. So we were telling everyone to be very relaxed and just relaxed deliveries, relaxed blocking. Everything was chill, relaxed. So I think that I needed that today, and that kind of, I've absorbed some of that energy. So I pass that on to you.
So you've been in a chill state of mind for the entire day, practically.
Almost, I would say. Yeah, I've been, this morning, it was like a practice, and then it just sort of became my work today. Not every day is like that, but I'll take them when I get them.
If you were to pick the chillest moment in your day, what would that look like today? What was the chillest moment?
This particular day?
Yeah, this particular day on this day in October.
Oh, I think the chillest moment was I had a director that I was working with who really just wanted to have calm conversations with people. And so I kind of just melted into the wall like I wasn't there to allow the flow of that conversation. So I think that's actually the chillest part of my day. Or this might be the chillest part of my day.
Well, I hope it's the chillest part of our listeners' day. The chillest part of my day was I brought all my work and everything outside today. It was a beautiful day. It's a nice fall day. I had to actually clear some leaves, and I had to wipe down the table outside. But once I was out there, it was just so serene. It was so lovely. I had my computer on. I was listening to an audiobook, and I really just dug what I was doing.
What audiobook are you listening to right now?
So I'm listening to this really cool book. It's called Breathe, The New Science of a Lost Art by James Nestor. And I know you're the big reader, but this book here I discovered by accident by listening to a podcast that was recommended to me. And the guest was this author. And he was talking about how we no longer breathe the way we used to breathe 300 years ago, and how the breathing has impacted our lives and how we can get back to that more natural breath. So I'm as humans, yes, as readers, as humans, as people who can.
Well, you said we. I thought you meant, I don't know. And then 300 years ago, I was like, okay, so we're talking about like humankind.
Yeah, and I really am finding it fascinating. And I'm not one to read a science book. That's not my genre, as you know. But this one here I'm digging. So I will give a synopsis of it when we do the Patreon episodes when we talk about books. But that's one of the things that I want to mention.
I also maybe the podcast too. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
That you got it from. You said you got it from a podcast.
Yeah, this person, James Nestor, was a guest on a podcast called Diary of a CEO.
Oh,
and that's how I discovered them.
Very cool.
Speaking of discovering things, one of our listeners sent us a Instagram message mentioning that they really enjoyed our episode and some suggestions for topics we could talk about. So I just want to give a shout out to T, who is our listener on Instagram. And I, of course, encourage our listeners to send us any messages that they might have with regards to what they want to hear. But I wanted to ask you this, Amanda. What does 70, 80, 90 fashion mean? That's one of the things that T had mentioned.
I mean, I'm assuming it's the decades. Fashion from the 70s and from the 80s. That would be my guess.
Oh, I guess so. I thought it was 70/80/90 fashion, meaning...
Oh, /90. Yeah, that's got to be the decade.
I thought it was like 70% of your clothes should be this, 80% of your clothes should be that. I guess that doesn't add up enough. Yeah.
Like a capsule wardrobe that adds up to... What would that add up to?
Yeah, I don't know.
That adds up to 170.
That all makes sense now. 70, 80, 90, like the years.
Is that what you want to talk about? Is fashion through the decades?
Oh, just tell me which of those decades does the fashion resonate with you more, I guess is the question I would have.
Well, it's funny. I was reading an article today of somebody who had watched the Gilmore Girls for the first time. Now she's 22,
Okay.
and that is a show, I believe that was in the 90s. I'd have to look it up, but I think it was sort of late 90s, early aughts. And so she was reflecting on the fashion of that show and how everything that they're wearing was actually things she either owns or wants to own. And so it was a real, a real sort of
Awakening.
highlight.
Oh,
Yeah, just a realization that we say that we repeat ourselves every 20 years, but it's obviously very, very true
sure.
because that show's now 20 years old, maybe
Mm.
even more than that, depending on the episode. But we're wearing a lot of those, the cropped tops,
Yep.
the wide-legged pants, the
Sure.
choker necklaces, etc. A lot of denim as well.
Who was the star of that show? Was it Marcia Gay Harden?
Definitely not.
A
Oh
Marcia
gosh.
Gay Harden wannabe?
I'm going to be very honest with you. I never watched it because they all talked too fast for me.
Oh, I
And
see.
I could never connect to it because they all talked like whiplash dialogue, which is not normally my jam. And it
Sure.
certainly, I'd like to give it a try because I know, who loves the Gilmore Girls is our
Who?
sister in law, Carrie,
Oh,
who I know
really?
is an avid listener. She loves the Gilmore Girls. Yeah. I
I
don't
mean,
even know how I know that.
a lot of people, talk about it or like it. Like it seems very popular, or it seems like it was popular, and it seems like in reruns it's popular too. So, anyways, I don't know why.
Yeah, I think it's just been released. I'm just gonna look up who those stars were because I only know them by the names. Lorelai, um,
Lorelai or
Lauren.
Lor?
Yeah, but that's the. It's like a mother and daughter, right?
Okay.
Lauren Graham was one lead, and then the daughter,
Is Laura
uh,
Graham the one that reminds me of?
Lauren Graham.
Okay, clearly I don't know.
Lauren Graham. And then her daughter was Rory Gilmore, who was played by Alexis Bledel, who you may know from um, a movie that I love called The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
Oh, okay, okay.
That
No,
was
I've
one of
never
her big
watched.
movies. She was the Greek one.
Okay, I've never watched that movie. I know
I
you
know.
enjoyed it. So, which one looked more like?
I enjoy clothes and I enjoy talking about clothes. So,
Which one of
um,
those two looks more like Marcia Gay Harden?
Lauren Graham,
Okay, okay,
but it's
because
not Marcia Gay Harden.
who I love.
I know, but she was not in it. Maybe she was a guest star. I don't know. Marcia Gay Harden works a lot and shows up in a lot of places.
Mhm.
So, but she's not the mom. If you're thinking that she was the mom, she was not.
Cool. Of the 70s, 80s, or 90s fashion, tell me which of those decades does your current closet reflect more?
Oh my goodness. I don't know what this says about me, but I'm going to say the 80s.
Okay.
And in my reasoning for this, it's
Sure.
because of the way my body decided to show up in the world. It's most suited to 80s fashion. 80s had really big, blousy shirts with like, remember stirrup pants?
Mm,
Okay, but leggings anyway.
okay.
Stirrup pants were just pants that had a stirrup on the bottom, which
I
I,
remember palazzo pants in the 80s.
yeah, so that's the other sort of, those are really wide legged pants,
Okay.
right? Of which I also owned a pair. Although I think for me that was more 90s, but
Or was it
um,
90s? I used to go to a club called Palazzo, and I remember being in this club Palazzo with friends who were wearing palazzo pants. That's the only reason I know um,
I
that
would argue
particular
palazzo was probably more early because you know what I think of when I think of palazzo pants? I think of
Mhm.
like Madonna in Vogue.
Okay, okay,
She's wearing like a bustier with palazzo pants,
right, right,
but not really. But anyway, I like a really big blousy top with like leggings,
fair
and
enough,
that is a look that kind of really happened in the 80s, and then has come back in different ways.
fair enough. Well, listen, whatever clothes you choose to wear, I hope your closet really resonates with them, is what I have to say.
I don't know what that means. Are you talking to me or our listeners?
Our listeners, I know what your closet
Whatever
resonates.
you choose to wear, I hope your closet resonates with them.
I hope
With
you
who? The
resonate.
clothes?
Well, I hope you resonate with the clothes you have in your closet, is what I'm
I mean, I
trying to
hope
say.
so. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
if you don't, that's what thrift shopping is for,
yeah.
right?
You're a huge thrift shopper. That's why I know
I
that.
am. Can we
Yeah.
talk about by the pound, or do we need to wrap this up?
You know what? Let's end with by the pound. Tell our listeners about by the pound.
By the Pound is an amazing store. I know we have listeners all over the world, so but I hope that you listen, you could start a franchise in your city or hometown. By the Pound is uh, a store in Toronto. It's for those who live in Toronto. It's on Orphis Road, and I know you know where that is, up by Yorkdale Mall. Anyway, it's a store where you go in and it's all just big tubs, big boxes of secondhand clothes. You know, some with tags still on that stores have gotten rid of. Others have had some wear, so it's a sort of mixture of everything. And you go through it. You can take all the time you want, and you weigh your clothes. You can try them on if you want, but you weigh the clothes that you're going to buy, and you have to buy 5 pounds worth. 5 pounds is $25. So the last time I was there, I got 9 tops. And I just concentrated on tops because there's so many things there. So I kind of made it my mission. Okay, I want a couple cute new tops. I got 9 tops for $25 by the
And
pound.
are they new or are they used?
They were all secondhand, but two of the garments still had tags on them from the Bay, which is a store here in Canada. So, department store. So, I think, like I said, I think I mean, they were secondhand, but they had tags on them. So no one's worn them.
So you spent less than $3 on 9 tops, $3 each?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Hmm.
Oh
And
wow.
now one of the tops had a rip in it. I didn't realize that until I got home. But I'll be honest, it was a big, like I said, I like blousy tops. So it was a really big blousy top. The rip was such that I could kind of tuck it into my pants and you couldn't see it. That's the top. Remember, I got rid of that top in
Mm,
St. Pierre and Miquelon?
yeah, yeah.
That was that top. But anyway,
Well,
yeah,
well,
by the pound.
that's a great tip. Thanks, Amanda.
And some of my tops don't weigh very much. That's why I got 9 of them because
Oh,
they're
so
like rayon.
if the top was heavier, it would cost more, or you would have less tops in your
Yeah,
five.
like 5 pounds could be one thick jacket, or it could be 9
I see.
rayon tops. So it just
I
depends.
got you. I got you. All right. Well, thanks for sharing that. All right, folks. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly learned a lot, at least about fashion.
Yeah,
And
well, you didn't know what 70, 80, 90 fashion was. You thought it
no,
was some sort of fraction that
I
didn't
thought it was
add
some
up
sort of,
to anything.
yeah, some sort of code that represents a type of fashion. I think I have to go by the pound and just learn more about fashion, is what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, until next time, I hope you were able to listen to our podcast and chill and relax.
And sleep. Thank you so much for listening.